This Friday, March 16th, Germany's top heavyweight fighter, Andreas Kraniotakes, takes on Strikeforce and Bellator veteran Mike Hayes for the vacant Cage Warriors Fighting Championship heavyweight title. He's here with me right now. How are you doing, Andreas?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me.
Now, how excited are you to have a chance to fight for the Cage Warriors heavyweight championship?
It is actually a really great honor for me. I've always wanted to compete for a championship belt in one of the big leagues, and I consider Cage Warriors as one of the big leagues. And I think I've done enough in the past year or so to put myself in that position and to earn that title shot. And it's great to be there finally, and it would be even better to actually capture the belt.
Now, is this your first shot at a title?
The first one that's worth mentioning. You know, there's a lot of titles out there that don't really matter if you ask me, but this is the first one that would really matter to me.
Absolutely. Now, are you in Romania for your training camp?
Yes, sir. I didn't know that I was fighting, actually, because I fought Dimitri Poberetsets at Cage Wars 46. That was 2 weeks ago from now, and I already planned the training camp following the fight in the Ukraine. So I already booked my train tickets down to Romania, where a really good Greco-Roman wrestler, heavyweight guy is training, and he's got a fight coming up in 2 weeks now. And that's why I actually came here, and I wanted to help him out with the training camp. And when I found out that I will be fighting for the belt so soon, I just changed from helping a guy out to having my own training camp again, and it worked very good so far.
All right, and how is the training camp going?
Really good, man. It's always, it's always a little bit of an adventure to train with new trainers, with new training partners, and in completely new surroundings. I've never been to Romania before. I didn't know anything about the country before I came here. I just knew that here's a big guy that knows something about wrestling and needs my help. And so I jumped into the train, had a 13-hour train ride, and I always try to be open-minded and, don't let myself be fooled by prejudices. And I'm glad that I did that once again, because the training is very nice and people treat me very nice. It's really wonderful to be able to see that the sport is growing over here as well. And I've already been in Romanian national TV after like 1 week of training here. So the appreciation for the sport is really, really big over here, and I like it. And also the training was excellent, man. It's good to have good training partners.
You've almost become well known for taking fights on short notice. Now, does that affect your training camp at all?
I try to not be too crazy about what the other guy does in the cage. So I don't need too much time to adjust to another opponent. I think that's what helps me when I take fights on short notice. And I think, that's the kind of stuff that great stories are made of. A guy steps up on short notice, and it would be way easier to have a 8-10 week training camp, of course, for sure, even for me. But I try to stay sharp, and I try to stay busy fighting. I won't be in this game forever, and I want to get as much experience in as possible. And so the fights on short notice seem to happen to me, but I think I'm doing an okay job with it so far, so I'll continue it.
Now, you faced some pretty tough heavyweights in your career. What challenges, if any, do you feel Mike Hayes presents to you that you may have to adjust for while in your training camp?
Wow, he's he's just an overall tough dude who knows what to do pretty much everywhere the fight goes. That's pretty, usually there's a hole in everybody's game. You can say, oh, let's take him to the ground and beat him up there, or you can say, oh, I'll just keep the fight standing and then it's gonna be alright. But, he knows to do, the damage from every position and wherever the fight goes, and he's never been finished in over than 20 fights, and he's a Strikeforce and Bellator vet. That means something, and he fought really good submission guys like Olinik, or really good knockout artists like Neil Grove, and they were not able to finish him. And I'm a finisher. If you look at my record, I won 30 fights so far, and that's not one decision. It's all finished in the first or second round, and so it will be more or less who will make his thing. I'm pretty sure that he will try everything to prevent me from finishing him. And he did well preventing guys from finishing him in the past, and I will try to be the first. Let's see who will come out on top. I mean, that's as simple as it is.
You had a chance to get more exposure to North American fans when you faced Tim Sylvia at Pro Elite 2. How was fighting in North America different from the other fights in your career?
To be honest, the major difference was that I finally was able to present myself to the American crowd. All of my Twitter followers asked me for, years now when will you fight in the US, and we hope to see you soon in the US fighting, and so on. And that was a big thing for me because, I promised them to make it happen as soon as possible, and now I was finally able to. And yeah, of course there was exposure on the news sites that only write about American events, and that was the major difference. The rest, you're getting in a cage, and it's only 3 people in that cage, and one is trying to knock your head off. That's not, for me, that's not a big difference, because if the cage is placed in the jungle or in a garage, it doesn't really matter, because it's always the same principle. But it was a big honor for sure, and I enjoyed the whole scenery, the whole, all the stuff around. We had a weigh-in at the ice hockey game in Moline, which was pretty crazy. Even Greg Jackson, who was there, said he never did that before. So, that's one of my goals. I don't only want to be a fighter. I also want to enjoy every step of the way. And, I think that I did a great job doing that over there. And, I didn't look too bad in the fight. I mean, the fight was pretty boring, but that wasn't my fault if you ask me. I tried my best to make it an exciting fight. And, I hope Pro League will have me back anytime soon.
You're fighting in Dubai this weekend. Are you looking forward to going there, and have you ever been there before?
I've never been to Dubai, and I always wanted to go, so this is an extra bonus for me. Actually, when my trainer and I were talking about the schedule for this year, we were checking out what Cage Warriors will be doing this year, and we both looked at the Dubai date and looked at each other and said, yeah, that would be cool. And then it seemed to be Kiev, and we were kind of not sorry, because getting to know Ukraine is nice also, but Dubai has a certain swagger, and we both hope to experience it, and now it will happen. So it kind of feels like everything's coming together right now. I wish to fight in Dubai, I wish to fight for the belt, and now it's finally going to happen next Friday, and I couldn't thank Cage Warriors more for giving me the opportunity.
Awesome. And now I know earlier you mentioned Twitter.
Actually, that's a great source of motivation for me. I get to hear a lot of stories from my fans, and that's what you get. That's actually what I see as my reward for interacting with them. I get to hear stories about them and how I influence them with the stuff that I do in the cage, or I do with my video blogs or whatever. So that's a great source of motivation, and it's a great inspiration for me too, because if you do something and you know that it affects other people, at the other end of the world, that's a great feeling. At least for me, I wouldn't be able to miss that feeling anymore. And I was a MMA fan before I started being a fighter, and I always wished that the MMA stars or the MMA fighters would be easier to, get in contact with, and to ask them like 1-2 interesting questions, just to get one step ahead in my overall understanding of MMA. And so I try to be the guy that I always wanted to have when I was just a fan. I'm still a big MMA fan, but I just think that's the right way to do it. And I get back a lot of love too. That's pretty cool.
Now, you mentioned being a fan of mixed martial arts. Who would you say is your favorite fighter?
Wow, there's so much out there. I mean, it's hard to say. If you ask for my all-time favorite fighter, I gotta say it's Bas Rutten, because I just like his personality so much, and he also was a great, he had great performances in the ring and in the cage, and he was a pioneer of the sport and a great ambassador of the sport. And that's why I take him as a role model somehow. I want to be an ambassador for the sport also, and I'm trying to place myself in the same way that he did. I want to, I know that the fighting career won't be forever, so I hope that after I quit fighting, I'll be able to do some other media work like commentary or stuff like that. And yeah, that's why he's kind of like my idol, if you want to put it that way.
There are two big heavyweight fights on the horizon. Obviously, we have Alistair Overeem versus Junior Dos Santos. And over in Strikeforce, the Grand Prix wraps up with Josh Barnett and Daniel Cormier taking on each other. Who would you pick in those two fights?
Wow, that's a tough one. I mean, I trained with Alistair a couple of times, and I trained with a lot of people in my days, and to be honest, I never experienced anything like Alistair. He's just a straight out monster, man. And he's got so much experience. People underestimate his experience. I mean, they see his record and they're like, oh, the guy has lost 11 times, but that means the guy has gone through hell and came back, you know. It's really hard to put him in a position that he's never been before. And there's a couple of aspects of his game that are really underrated, like his cardio or his ground game. And I personally think that Alistair Overeem is the best heavyweight out there, but still Junior presents some interesting problems for him, and you can't say this guy will win 100%. It's always like he will win 8 out of 10 fights. And if you ask me, Alistair will win 8 out of 10 fights against Junior. And the Cormier and Barnett fight is really hard to predict too, but I'm going with Cormier because I think that Barnett will have the edge when he will be able to take the fight to the ground, but I don't think that he will be able to because Cormier is such a good wrestler, and he will have a good game plan coming in, and I probably see the fight going for Cormier with a decision.
Now, I'd done some research prior to speaking with you, and I had found an interview you had done where you had mentioned a thesis you were working on in regards to martial arts. Are you still working on it, and would you care to explain it?
Of course, my pretty busy schedule as a fighter doesn't allow me to work on it full time, but I'm still working on it, and it is about martial arts and how martial artists are treated in different cultures, and about the role that martial arts play for for these different societies and cultures. I strongly believe that the will to fight and the aggression is a part of human nature, and most of our societies don't allow the humans or the people living in this society to let that out. There's no really place to be aggressive. There's no really place to get out all that anger that we're equipped with naturally. And I think that martial arts, or sports in general, but especially fighting sports, are important. One important thing to help the society being quiet and peaceful, because we can't just ignore that aggression is part of the human nature. And if we do so, we will eventually get into trouble. And if we accept it and give them like a little space in our society, it will be way easier for us to live with each other. That's the thesis that I'm trying to prove.
Now, moving on to your opponent, do you have any words for Mike Hayes leading up to the fight this Friday?
If I would tell him anything before the fight, is that I respect him as a fighter, and that I really like the puzzle he presents me, and that I will be trying to solve when we fight. And I wish us both best of luck, and I don't hope for any injuries, and let's get it on.
Andreas Kraniotakes is fighting in the main event of Cage Warriors Fight Night 4. He'll be taking on Mike Hayes as they fight for the Cage Warriors heavyweight title. It all goes down this Friday, March 16th, and streams live on MMAJunkie.com. Before I let you go, would you like to give any shout-outs?
Oh, of course, all my team from San Diego. All the guys helped me preparing over there all the times, and I'm really sad that I couldn't be over there for this training camp, but it's not always possible. Especially Janix, who's been a great help, and Sia, and all my fighting friends and training partners and trainers in Germany as well at Kampfsport Gym, and my sponsors, of course, without whom a life like this wouldn't be possible. And thanks to my fans, and I hope you all tune in, and I'll be ready to put on a show for you.
Great, it's been a real treat talking to you, Andreas, and we definitely appreciate taking some time out of your day to talk to us about the fight.
Thanks for having me, man.